Hello! Welcome to this week's video blog. For this week, I'm going to be doing my wrap-up for the month of October. We are now into November, so I had one book that I finished and enjoyed, one book that just did not work for me that I DNF'd. So, I kind of call it a success because the book that I did enjoy was from an author that I did not enjoy her last book. So let's get into it. The book that I did enjoy and finish was Dirty Bad Wrong by Jade West. And if you saw a previous wrap-up of mine, the one that she did, Call Me Daddy, that one just did not work for me, which hella disappointed me because I loved the first one that I read of hers, Bait. And for me, Bait is still the standard to which we must, I don't know if we're gonna beat Bait with Jade West books, but that is still the gold standard for me. I adored that book. Dirty Bad Wrong was great. Not quite as high as Bait, just for my own sort of squick factors about certain things. So Dirty Bad Wrong is the story of James and Lydia. James is, Lydia works for James, and some company thing, business, yeah, that's not what we're here for. And she has recently broken up with a guy, Stuart, because he cheated on her and got the girl pregnant, so she's all like, men suck. And she ends up moving in with this girl who is a friend of James's, and the way that he and this girl know each other, this girl Rebecca, is they are both in the BDSM kink fetish scene, so they're both part of that that lifestyle. And James is attracted to Lydia, but he sort of put this barrier up where, like, he never, how did it go? Know no one you F, and F no one you know. And I always thought that was a fun little catchphrase that he tried to, like, drill into himself, but fell apart horribly because he fell in love with Lydia. So Lydia ends up living with his friend Rebecca, who is, I love her. I love Rebecca. She's such a fun character, and she is like so on board with James and Lydia getting together, and she thinks that James is being stupid by holding off Lydia and not getting involved with her when it's clear that these two are attracted to each other. And so Rebecca takes Lydia to the club, the BDSM club, where James is, but he performs like sort of in private, like he wears a mask, and I think his name is Mask. He goes by the name Mask at the club, and he works with different submissives and people, women who enjoy pain. So Lydia is watching him work and is immensely turned on. So she wants to keep going back again and again, and at the same time, she's falling in love with James, and Rebecca thinks this is hilarious because she knows that James is Mask, So she keeps setting up these situations where Lydia will find out that James is masked, and she eventually does, and then it's sort of them kind of like dancing around this, like, he doesn't want to like get into a relationship with her, so he's like, okay, we'll just keep it straight, like the BDSM thing, I'll do this for you and we'll enjoy each other that way, but we won't make it into a relationship because then that'll screw up work. And because that sort of had happened to him at his previous job, and so he had to leave because there was a scandal and this whole like big old mess. And yeah, so there's like an ex-wife who wants James back, and she's just this harpy, and yeah, it's like the only thing that brought it like just from like bait status to just great is that I'm squicked out by bodily fluids. I can't do, and it's not even like there's a point where there's urine involved, and I wasn't as squicked out by that as the spit scene. I can't do spit. I can't. I just think it's disgusting, and it is not a turn on for me. Porn people, if you could stop with the gagging thing, that's just, it's gross. It's not sexy. I'm sorry. This is my own personal squick meter. Yours may vary, but yeah, there's like this, I had to fast forward it, and like I listened to it in Audible, and I could not with that scene. I had to fast forward it. And the urine thing, I wasn't like, it's not my thing, it's not my kink, but I wasn't quite as grossed out by it as I was by the spit. I can't do spit, just no. That's the only thing though. That was the only thing that brought it down. So that's just like, that's my own like personal kink thing that just did not work for me. Other than that, I love the book. I love the book when when Stuart comes and he keeps trying to get Lydia back, because he's like, oh, it's okay, we should totally get back together. It turns out the baby that the girl was expecting is not mine after all. And she has this friend who is both a friend of hers and Stuart's, who keeps trying to get Lydia to forgive Stuart and thinks that Lydia's being unreasonable by not forgiving him, because why are you being such a hoe, like an unforgiving hoe? He already told you the baby's not his. And I'm like, I want to scream at this friend. It's like, that doesn't matter. The fact that the baby could have been his because he slept with her, and then they try to turn it like, oh, they didn't actually have sex, the girl just blew him in an alleyway. That's still not okay. If you let another woman near your penis, this is not okay. So that girl, I just could not with that girl. I kept wanting her to scream at the friend, being like, then, and I think she does at some point, like, if you think Stuart is such a great guy, you date him. Leave me alone. I am happy with James. And oh, so then like Stuart, like I don't remember if Lydia actually tells the old friend that sort of like what's going on with like her and James. I think the friend like finds out somehow, and then tells Stuart, and then Stuart shows up at the job and accuses James of being an abuser, and it's just like, because okay, without context, he's like showing, he like takes the Lydia by the arm and like shows everybody there like the bruises, and like, look what he's doing to her, look what a sick he is, and blah blah blah. And James and Lydia are just like, oh my god, this guy. And he's like, because you don't want to tell people about your sex life. You don't want to tell your coworkers about like the things, the activities you engage in. So, oh, it was such an interesting scene watching that play out. I thought it was so well done. yeah, so I would totally recommend Dirty Bad Wrong by Jade West. Just your squick meter may vary, but mine was like just the spitting part. I couldn't, I couldn't do it. I had to fast forward that bit. But yeah, loved it. The one that I did not love, sadly, was another CD Reiss. This one I got in print. Was King of Code by CD Reiss. And I was thinking, I remember the last time that I said that CD Reiss is turning into a hit or miss for me, because I think I had thought at that time that the only books that I liked of hers was the Marriage Games duet, the Marriage Games and Separation Games. Those two books, that series, and then Prince Charming. But I remember that I also loved Bombshell. Bombshell was really cute, about the nanny who is who takes care of this movie actor's little girl. I really liked that one too. So that reminded me, and that encouraged me a little bit more. So yeah, still a bit of a hit or miss for me. King of Code just did not work for me, because I couldn't get past the first chapter, because it was just this whole like, he's like a hacker and he works like a team of hackers, and I get it, set the scene and all that, but it was just this like all like tech speak and just like this huge like info dump of like computer terms and computer codes, and like knowing like, oh, we have to do this and work this and the ECPs and the ECPU, and it's like, you can tell me that he's like a computer hacker and like work it in, but like that's too much. It's too much, and I didn't understand what they were talking about. And maybe like if you're into computer code stuff, hacking, this would have worked better for you. It just did not work for me. And I also didn't like how the hero, the male lead, Taylor, has this sort of like, not even friends with benefits, but just like this work girl that he bangs. They bang each other at work. And just like the way that he talks about it, like it means nothing to him. Like it's just, there's even like a part in the first chapter where he's talking about how the fact that he has no feelings for her whatsoever. And he actually says that. And I'm just like, really? So I'm supposed to buy that you're capable of this like grand passion and love when you get to the heroine? Like, I would casual sex is fine, but I would think that you would at least have to like the person, or like feel like some kind of like attraction or something for the person. I would have liked to like see some kind of like, you know, like just a general like companion friendship kind of thing even. But like, no, like him describing it as like, oh, he had no feelings for her whatsoever, was like, really? So you're just using each other to get your rocks off? Like, just, which again, like I said, like casual sex is fine, but I would expect, at least for me, to like to feel like I want to follow him on this journey. I'd feel like I have to at least like him. And if I'm seeing him just like screwing some work girl with like no feelings towards her, or like not, and I don't even, again, I don't mean love, he doesn't have to be in love with her, but to actually like her, or like, I don't know, that just bothered me, and I couldn't get past like the first chapter or so. So sadly that one did not work. I'm still reading T.M. Fraser's Perversion. I am this close to finishing The Shadows by J.R. Ward. I'm like maybe like just like a few chapters away from finishing it. And I'm very excited because as soon as I finish that one, I'm going to get started on Paulina Simon's Lone Star. So very, very excited about that. In Audible, I am about to start get back here with library.
Audio, a division of...
I'm about to start Last Hope by Jessica Clare and Jen Frederick. I love this series. How many books is it? There's Last Hit, Last Kiss. I think is this the third one or the fourth one? Because there was Nikolai's story, there was Vasily's story. Yeah. I think this is the third one, and this is the Mendoza's story, where he's the guy who Nikolai and I think Vasily, when they were in Brazil, he was the guy who like owned the compound where what was her name? The heroine, I think, in the one who had Asperger's, where whether they were using her for her mind, they used her because she was like a good hacker, and he was the one that was like keeping her safe, Mendoza, or like helped find her. Yeah, so this is Mendoza's story, and I'm really hoping, I can't tell from the blurb, but I'm really hoping that the girl that he falls in love with is Vasily's sister, Katya? I think it was Katya that he had hidden away, and he pretended to the Russian mob that he had killed her so that he could secure power. But it turns out that he hadn't killed her and she was still alive. I'm really hoping that Mendoza ends up with Katya. So that's kind of where, so that's what I'm reading now in Audible. So that's going to be my wrap up for October. So follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/authorejamie. Like my Facebook page at facebook.com/authorejamie. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.